The Rhino High Fidelity series might just be the best reissue series in the game right now. So you have AAA mastering, 180 gram pressings and packaging that rivals the best in the game. Now today on the Vinyl Narrative, I'm going to be ranking every release that I have in my collection so far, and at the end I'm going to throw in a few predictions for what I think we're going to see in the High Fidelity series. Okay, let's get into it. So what is the Rhino High Fidelity series? Well, it's a premium reissue series from the label Rhino, which, if you don't know, they're a subsidiary of the Warner Music Group, and that means they've got deep access to the Warner catalogue. So we're talking about everything from Reprise Records to Sire Records, Elektra, as well as Atlantic, and a bit more as well. So that means that they have access to the giants such as Fleetwood Mac, Otis Redding, a bit of Miles Davis, Black Sabbath, Talking Heads, New Order, Joy Division, loads of names to reel off there, but just a really expansive catalogue, which is what makes the Rhino High Fidelity series really exciting, because it's kind of like that Blue Note Tone Poet series in that the care and quality is just there. Most of these releases are AAA mastering, cut from the original analog master tapes by Kevin Gray at Cohearent Audio, and Kevin Gray is he's one of the best in the mastering game. He's just got a fantastic reputation and has done some absolute stellar work over his career. These are also pressed at Optimal Media in Germany, who are a renowned pressing plant, and then they're housed in these kind of Stoughton, heavy Stoughton tip-on gatefold glossy jackets, which just feel really premium. So it's a fantastic series, and the initial pressings from this series have been numbered, so they've only pressed 5,000 of this series, but recently in the last year or so we've started to see Rhino release unnumbered versions of these. So there are a few that I will talk about today that sold out on their initial run of 5,000. Some of them sold out within the day, and then later on down the line, Rhino have then released an unnumbered version, which is nice because it means that people who missed out the first time round get a chance of getting these. And the unnumbered versions, it's also important to point out, the unnumbered versions go through indie record stores and brick and mortar stores. They're not just restricted to the Rhino web store like the numbered versions have been up until now. Another great thing that I really like about this High Fidelity series is that they include a booklet with each release that is a scan of the actual master tape that Kevin Gray has cut from, which is just a nice bit of history, I think, to include with the release, because otherwise this is something that you and I would never ever see. We'd never get a look at that master tape and the mastering notes that were written on the tape box. It's just fun to see that and kind of work out when these sessions were recorded and what notes the mastering engineer put on the tape box. But there are two things that actually disappoint me about this series, and there's only two, and they're just little niggles that I think Rhino could improve over time. The first thing is the inner sleeve. And here is said inner sleeve. So they look really, really nice, really premium. So you've got this kind of almost glossy kind of paper stock with a rice paper inner. That is really nice. And then you've got the Rhino High Fidelity logo on the front there. The problem with these, the reason I don't like them, is they're just slightly too thick and slightly too oversized, which means getting them back into those gatefold jackets, the heavy Stoughton ones, is really difficult, and you've really got to want to get it in there. And every time I do it, I'm just a bit scared. I'm kind of scuffing the record, even though I don't think you could scuff it, but yeah, I just don't really like them. They're not the best. They look lovely, but I prefer like an archival inner sleeve, or just a straightforward kind of cut down to size rice paper inner sleeve. That would be nice for them to do. But yeah, that's one thing that I don't like. The other thing is the pressing plant that they're using. Now, Optimal is normally quite solid with their pressings, but sometimes, I've had a few dodgy pressings from Optimal where maybe the quality control just wasn't quite there. I've had a bit of you know, a lot of grooves. I've had some non-fill situations, which are really annoying, especially when you're paying the money for a premium release. What I'd love for them to do is to actually switch to Fidelity record pressing plant in the US. Now they have been doing consistently great work ever since they opened, and Rhino actually used Fidelity record pressing for their other series, which is the Rhino Reserve series, which is another premium reissue series, and I'll probably talk about that on a future video because I really enjoyed that too. But yeah, if they could switch from Optimal to Fidelity, I think this would just be the perfect reissue series on the market. Okay, so let's get into my collection itself of the High Fidelity series so far. I don't have every single release because, quite frankly, not everything has appealed to me, but I've just picked up the ones I've been either really wanting to have for a long time, or they just slightly appealed to me and I was interested to see what they sounded like, and they've grown to be fantastic records in my collection. So first up, in at number 8 is Television's Adventure. Now this is the 2025 pressing, the numbered pressing, so you can usually see that they've got the number on the back right hand side of the cover, and mine is number 217 out of 5,000. Not that it means absolutely anything at all, because it doesn't necessarily mean that the record itself or the vinyl that I've got here was number 217. This is pressed separately, this would have been put together separately, and then they would have been assembled elsewhere, so it doesn't matter numbering, it's just nice to have, I think, on this. But yeah, you know, this is a perfectly fine reissue. There's the master tape booklet that I was talking about there. Really lovely thick Stoughton tip-on jackets. This one's very glossy as well. I really like the cover, just capturing the band at a very I don't know, poignant moment. Very similar to the Marquee Moon cover, which you might see later on in this list. But yeah, this, you know, it's okay, this album. It's got a few good tracks on it, like Days is a real standout track on this, but you know, it's a bit of maybe a mid-tier choice for this series, I think. But you know, Kevin Gray's done a great job in the mastering. I just think there's better records out there in the series, but you know, this is worth picking up, especially if you're a Television fan. It's probably one of the underappreciated records in comparison to the debut. But yeah, and at number 8, Television's Adventure, a nice record, but not quite hankering for that top number 1 spot in my collection. Okay, in at number 7 we have the Ramones' Road to Ruin. Now this is the 2024 numbered edition from the series. Mine is number 3,144 out of 5,000, but yeah, not that that matters. Lovely gatefold jacket, great colour reproduction as well with the photos of the band. Just a great Ramones album. It's raw and as fun as you would expect from the Ramones, but the mastering's it's good, but it just didn't quite hit me. I don't know if there was just, I don't know, not enough bass on this for some reason, but I don't know if the original recording had the same kind of complaint, if you will. You know, I still really enjoy it. It's got the mega hit of I Want to Be Sedated on there. And yeah, it just flows really nicely, but it, you know, it's typical Ramones. It does get a little bit samey after a while, but still, it's a fantastic record. It's nice to have it in the series, but I would put this at number 7 in my collection of the Rhino High Fi. In at number 6, we have Miles Davis's Tutu, which is from the 2024 pressing. This is numbered. I've not actually removed the obi strip from this version. I've just put it straight in a nice protective sleeve, but I believe this is, from the look of it, from the numbers, number 3,000 and something out of 5,000. It's AAA cut, sounds really nice. It's I say it's AAA cut, but I'm not sure if there was some digital mixing in this album, because this is at, what is this, the 80s period for Miles Davis. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was some digital elements in there maybe, but it says it's cut from the original analog master tape, so I have to go with that. It sounds fantastic. The gatefold art is just, you know, it's gorgeous. It's, you know, really great photo reproduction again. Don't know if that, yeah, it comes up on the camera Just an underrated record that I don't think it'd be a typical audiophile pick for many audiophiles or even Miles Davis fans. It's you wouldn't expect it to get this level of treatment in a AAA series, but I'm glad it did, because I think this album is just a sleeper hit in the series. It's definitely worth picking up, especially if you're just intrigued by the kind of later Miles Davis albums that he's got in his catalogue. I really like this record. It's not his best, but it's worth having in your collection as an essential. So this is Miles Davis 2-2. And then in at number 5, we have Devo's Freedom of Choice. This is the 2024 numbered edition. I'll check out the numbering on this. It's number 3941. Again, doesn't matter. But yeah, I love this record. It's just really fun. A fantastic representation of that kind of synth pop, post-punk sounds that was quite evident in the 80s, and just, yeah, a really good representation of that. The synths on this are just really crisp. The vocals are really clear. The only thing I'd maybe complain about, although it's a bit of a niggle if anything, is that it could have maybe needed a bit more low end in there, just to give it a bit more punch in the drums. But other than that, fantastic release. Definitely one that you should have in your collection, I'd say. It's one of those essential records. It's got the original merchandise advert in this as well, which is a nice little touch from Rhino, as well as a scan of the master tape, which is just stuck behind there. So there you go, there's the master tape cut out. Yeah, great record. Lovely photos of the band as well on the interior. Worth picking up. It's a fantastic reissue. Anything I'd improve is maybe just a bit more low end on it, but you know, that's not to say it's not great still. So there we go, Devo's Freedom of Choice in at number 5. Okay, up next we have a band we've already heard from in my list. It is Television's Marquee Moon, and this is the 2025 unnumbered edition. So I wasn't quick enough to pick this up the first time round in 2024. And this is probably one of the ones that took a long time to get an unnumbered reissue for. It sold out quite quickly, and that, you know, there's all the reason for that as well. I've just got that's the sleeve there. I don't use it for that. You know, the fantastic record. This one of my favourites of all time, Marquee Moon. I've got an original UK pressing as well, which sounds really nice, but I think I might prefer this. I've not quite decided yet. Kevin Gray took a kind of different direction with the mastering choices on this record. He's not kind of stayed faithful to the original mastering that was on the originals, the original pressings. He's kind of added a bit more bass, and the guitars feel a bit sharper. They're not quite that kind of transistor radio sound of guitars. The dynamics are just great on this, and the vocals sound really lovely as well. Yeah, I just love this record. I could wax lyrical about it for a long time, but I won't do on this list. The only downside to this is that, you know, it just took so long to get an unnumbered edition. Other than that, I'm just really pleased I finally got this copy. I might even do a shootout to the original just to see how well it actually does compare down really down low level in the sonics. But yeah, number 4 on my list is Television's Marquee Moon. Fantastic pickup. Get it while you can. Okay, we're into the top 3 now. So these are 3 amazing records. If you could pick up just one of these in a shop somewhere, I would do so. They're fantastic reissues. So in at number 3, we have Black Sabbath's Paranoid, and this is the 2025 numbered pressing. Mine's number 920. This record, what more can you say about this amazing Sabbath album? It's, you know, it's thunderous. It's got a bit of jazz in there as well. It's just a fantastic record, an essential for any guitarist, I think, to have in their collection, an essential for any just rock fan. I know this is almost like the start of heavy metal, but You know, for me, it just feels like it's heavy rock, especially by kind of, if you can do comparisons to people in that genre today. Sabbath are probably more rock leaning than they are metal, but you know, I won't have that argument here. Yeah, this pressing is just fantastic. It's just that wall of sound, heaviness, but it's, you know, it's really controlled, it's really tight. Kevin Gray's done an amazing job with it. You know, he's not sacrificed anything that you wanted him to sacrifice or would have been scared of him sacrificing. It's still got that doomy edge to it, and I love this record. It sounds fantastic cranked, especially Paranoid. It sounds just insane, especially on the bass. It sounds fantastic. So there we go, Black Sabbath's Paranoid. And we're still sticking with Sabbath because in at number 2 we have Black Sabbath's self-titled album, Black Sabbath. This is the 2025 unnumbered pressing, so there's no numbering there. Yeah, again, what can you say about this record that hasn't been said already? It's just, you know, a real revelation. This really did kickstart the kind of metal movement and you know, just blew a lot of the kind of heavy rock competition out of the water. Just a fantastic album. That you've got that iconic kind of thunderstorm intro that you know what you're getting in for as soon as you put this record on, I think. And this album, you know, this pressing that Kevin's done of this in the High Fidelity series, it's dark, it's moody, and it's just heavy. I think is the heavy moody album is probably the best way to describe this. I love it. Fantastic record. He's given it all the clarity that it deserves, but not sacrificing any of the moodiness. So yeah, if you see this in store, which you might do now because this is the unnumbered edition, I don't think this is sold out yet, pick it up. It's an essential for your collection alongside that Paranoid record as well. So yeah, Black Sabbath's self-titled album in at number 2. And then in at number 1 we have a record I absolutely adore. It is the Cars self-titled album, and this is another unnumbered edition. This is from 2025. This came out recently alongside the unnumbered edition of Marquee Moon by Television. Yeah, I love this album. It's just again very similar to Devo in that it's a lovely representation of that kind of synthy new wave post-punk sound that the 80s was just, you know, really well known for. I love this record back to front. It's probably the best I've ever heard it. I've got the CD of it upstairs. I think it's a 90s edition CD, but yeah, this is the best I've ever heard it. It's got a really wide soundstage. It's just so much detail in the guitars as well. It's just crazy how much detail is in this mastering job that Kevin's done. And it's got, you know, just rock solid bass on it as well, which is always lovely to hear. He's nailed it on the mastering of this, and this is probably my favourite. No, this is definitely my favourite record in the series. So there we go. There's the Cars self-titled album, The Cars. Okay, so that's my collection so far of the Rhino High Fidelity series. I will be picking up more as they release them, and there's probably a few that they've released that I've already got a copy of the album, and I'm probably going to end up double dipping because I just love this series. It's one of my favourites on the market today, alongside the Tone Poet, probably from Blue Note. But what do I want to see in this series going forward? A few personal picks from me. So I'd love to see New Order's Power, Corruption, Lies reissued in this series. I think we need a definitive version of this fantastic album from New Order. It's my favourite record from them. I'd love to just have a AAA cut of it, or even a high-res digital version. I've got an OG UK pressing up on my shelf, but I'd love to see it get the Rhino High Fidelity treatment. That'd be great. Another one that I'd love to see from New Order as well is Brotherhood. That I think is an underrated record. It's moody, but it's also rich with texture, and I'd love to see it given that kind of sonic love from Kevin Gray that he's well known for, and you know, I'd love to see a glossy version of that metallic cover. I think it would just really sparkle. So I hope to see some more New Order in the Rhino High Fidelity series, particularly Brotherhood and Power, Corruption, Lies. Another record that I'd like from the 80s again is Talking Heads' Fear of Music. Now, this one's been reissued a few times, but I don't think we've ever got a true high fidelity version, all analog master cut, you know, and to top it off with, like, you know, Rhino High Fidelity packaging. If they could do the embossed metal work on the cover, that would be even better. It would be amazing. Please make it happen, Rhino. I'd love to see a true audiophile reissue of Fear of Music by Talking Heads. And then lastly, my last prediction, I think this is actually going to happen at some point sooner rather than later, because they've already done the Stooges' debut album in the High Fidelity series, but it's not really an audiophile record by any means. It wasn't recorded particularly well, but I am waiting on that to arrive. Actually, I've ordered that. But one I would love to see from the Stooges catalogue is Funhouse. Now, that was quite a well recorded record for that kind of proto-punk genre. Yeah, I'd love to see this album in this series get the treatment that it deserves. You know, Rhino could very well make the ultimate version of Funhouse. That doesn't cost an insane amount like that Electric Recording Company reissue that was done recently. I wasn't willing to pay £370 or whatever it is they charge for those reissues. But yeah, Rhino, please make it happen. You've got access to the tapes, you've got access to the catalogue for the Stooges, so make Funhouse one of your priorities in the Rhino High Fidelity series. Okay, so that's my High Fidelity collection ranked, but now I want to hear from you guys. What's your favourite Rhino High Fidelity release so far? And what titles are you hoping that Rhino will pull out of their catalogue and reissue in this series? Let me know in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel grow. And if you're new here and you're into high quality vinyl reissues, audiophile pressings, or just need a little help with trying to build out a killer vinyl collection because you're new to the hobby, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. I've got way more of these kind of ranking videos coming up on the calendar, and I've got a few reissue deep dives and reviews on the way. So thank you very much for watching the Vinyl Narrative, and I will see you on the flip side.